What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto with ESPN, joined by the UFC's strawweight champion, Mackenzie Dern, who defends her title against Gillian Robertson at UFC 330 in Philadelphia. Mackenzie, thank you so much for the time. My first question is that when you won this title back in October, I really got the sense like you would have jumped in and defended it the very next week. I mean, you were talking about the momentum that you had and that you had figured out so many things in the gym, and it just felt like you were, peaking. You were right where you wanted to be. So it took 10 months for us to get back to this situation where you're going to be into the octagon. How was that time for you? And do you feel like you were able to really hang on to that momentum that you wanted to continue carrying on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I kind of life changed completely after I became the champ, so it was good just kind of for me to organize my life a little bit, um, kind of reorganize, I guess, everything after becoming the champ. But we had a couple. I mean, I started training. I helped out with the Ultimate Fighter team Bisping, so there was a strawweight division, so I was able to get back into training relatively early for this fight. Even though I didn't know who I was going to end up fighting for the belt or defending the belt against, but I was able to just kind of get my good momentum and get back into the gym training early. So my coach is happy about that, and it really is crazy just how much when you train now, like I train like a champion. So it's just my level went up like so much in training, and just my mindset opened more and just absorbing more and more. And I mean, I think I won the belt, and my level of gotten way better than since my last fight in October. So I'm excited to showcase that in August 15th.
What do you mean by that? Like training like a champion, and made it sound like that level of training is higher. What do you mean that you're?
I mean, I don't know if it's the confidence. I don't know. I mean, I think before I became the champion. Like I would train, but I was too focused and kind of doubtful if like I was getting the positions right, or if I was understanding the right technique, or if I was getting better or not. And then once I became the champion, I just came back into the gym, and then everything was flowing, and you kind of just trust the process easier, and you're like, okay, we are the champion and we did this. So now obviously we're doing stuff right. So then you can just kind of build on top of that. You're not so much doubtful in your training. At least for me, I'm an overthinker. So it just helped me kind of trust in myself, and my training just got it got better. It got a lot better.
I can see that. That makes sense. And it is kind of one of those things where they say, like, I think the saying is immediately you're 30% better when you're a champion. And it's because of the confidence. It's just that validation that what I'm doing is correct. These days, what do you find yourself working on the most? I mean, we obviously are familiar with your story that you had this incredible background and that you needed to then change that and apply it to MMA. What types of things do you find yourself now really working on the most and prioritizing in the gym?
I mean, obviously strength training, just to be prepared for, always five. I mean, and just be prepared for the camp. The camp is honestly the hardest part of getting to the fight, and making sure that we can train. Every single fight now is the biggest fight of my life, So imagine if fighting for the title is the biggest fight of your life, but now being a champion, every single fight is a title fight, So the camp is just so intense every single time. So just a lot of strength training so I can get through the camp and make sure that whenever they feel me, they're gonna be like, "Oh shoot, this is what a champion feels like, just strong and hard to take down and stuff like that." My wrestling, just because even though I did win, I got taken down a lot, and I don't want to risk, fighting someone like Tatiana or Jillian, who I feel like could have a similar strategy to Verna, maybe like try and take down and could try and steal around just maybe from ground control, even if I'm not in too much danger. And I don't want to risk that, losing the belt for something like that. So wrestling, I've been working on a lot. And then a lot of my striking, not so much like combos and feeling comfortable, but like a lot of footwork and head movement and feel and kind of starting to set stuff up on the striking. So those are my three biggest pillars I've been working on.
I've heard you say that about the way that Jandiroba approached the fight, and that maybe Jillian will look to approach the fight like that as well, where control, scoring points, not putting you away, And I wonder, what about Jillian specifically makes you think that? And then do you respect that? Do you look at that and say like, well, if that's what she's got to do to take my belt, then I respect that? Or do you kind of find yourself, it's a theme that we see in the sport sometimes where champions are like, you're trying to hug me and stop a fight rather than start a fight. Is that kind of how you feel about Jillian? Do you respect it? And why do you think that about her?
No, I respect it because I feel like Julia I think Jillian will do more than Virna. Virna, for me, in my opinion, her game plan was to stay safe like the first 2.5 minutes on the striking, and then 2.5 minutes get a takedown. And I didn't feel her like trying to get to a better position on the ground, trying to like progress. I felt she would try to stand back up again, and I felt like she just tried to win the fight off of like takedowns, basically. And I feel like Jillian will try to like hug my head, try to get to like half guard, try to pass my guard, try to get the back and in ground and pound and open up a little bit. And I think that if she can get a submission or she can get the TKO or ground and pound, she will look for that. So I definitely respect that. And I do think that she's dangerous. And I think she'll just like a more intense version of Virna with more, more. Although Virna, I think her striking was better than Jillian. So I mean, they both have their pros and cons. But yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a title. No, it's everyone's gonna do whatever they need to do to win. So it's all fair in games, but you got to get dirty in there, and you got to like you got to fight. So I'm definitely training like to kick her off and to get out and to sweep and pass and win everywhere.
Hmm. And you've talked about maybe some of the new or increased confidence in your training. What do you think it'll be like during fight week when you're walking around and that's your belt, someone is trying to take it? You've been in that situation before, but this is the first time there's like in MMA that this is your belt, and that you are the woman, you are the person to beat here. Like, is that a different mentality, or do you think the fight week and then the actual walk itself and everything else will feel pretty much the same?
I mean, I'm excited to feel the walkout. I don't know how it's gonna be, but I mean, leading up to it and just the feeling I have at home and waking up and going to sleep and just behind my whole training, my whole motivation, it is a very more intense, like a little bit kind of possessiveness of the belt. And it's like it's kind of like it's mine. And you feel a little bit not offended, but I mean, just everyone's calling you out. I'm like, I can't take things personal because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the champ. That's why everyone's calling me out. I'm like, why is everyone calling me out so much? But obviously when you're not the champ, no one's really talking about you. So you do just kind of want to protect it with everything you have, and you feel like someone's trying to take something away from you. But at the same time, I feel more comfortable. I don't know if it's because I've been through like 21 fights now and I finally made it, and I feel like I know a little bit of what I'm doing, even though obviously we can keep always getting better and learning. But I do feel more confident just with my team and being there in front of the lights and fighting under pressure. So I feel like that will help me, and I'll feel at home,
Just
even though
just
I'll
a
be in her home.
well, I know, and I actually thought that was interesting that they've thrown out Macau for when it was Wei Lee, and now that you're going to Philly to face Gillian Robertson. It's like, where's the respect for the champion here? That did cross my mind. Going to
Right?
her style, I've heard fighters say this before that they like to be scared during camp. Like they like to, it drives them because it's like I need to be on top of my game. Otherwise, this person can hurt me. They can take what I've accomplished. You know, is Jillian giving you that? Is she giving you that fire of like you're scared during camp? Like there's a real like direct, obvious threat here. Does she provide that for you?
Um, I mean, I think the biggest part is just to not fall into a bad position. Like if she does get a takedown, not like where she's already up on me and holding my head or kind of catching my back and things like that. So she's definitely pushing me to be like perfectionist and make sure that I'm perfect for that 25 minutes when I'm fighting her. So it's not that I feel dangerous as if I'm gonna get injured or that I could have this huge chance of losing my belt, but she definitely gives me a drive. And I know how much she's coming on a 5-fight win streak, you know what I mean? Beating girls that have beat me. I don't want to lose to a strategy and to a game plan. I want it. So definitely pushing me to make sure I'm perfect on everything, just position and seeing everything and make sure I can stay ahead and beat her down round by round.
My last question about the fight is, I think for a lot of us, talking about this fight before it happens and then the second after it happens, Whaley is part of the conversation, you know? For you, like when you and Perillo are in the gym, are you thinking, are you kind of in the back of your mind game planning for a fight against Whaley? And does she sort of a part of your career even when she's not involved, or are you able to just completely cut her out and focus on the task at hand, or is she kind of right back there like the rest of us?
For sure, she's back there. I mean, after my win from in October, we imagined that the first title defense would be against her, So, I mean, we've been indirectly, I mean, even before I became a champion, we thought that I could potentially fight her to become a champion, So, I mean, she's definitely been someone who we've just kind of been training for on the low key, little details, not getting too much in my mind, but she's always been back there. She's back in my mind all the time during training and just kind of make sure that we'll be ready for her if that ever happens.